Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Today I want to share with you 9 powerful truths to remind yourself of everyday truths that, when practiced, can transform your life in ways unimaginable. The reality you live in today is the result of the thoughts you have repeatedly entertained in the past. Whether you're aware of it or not, you have been continuously shaping your world. The beliefs you hold about yourself, others, and the world have created the circumstances around you. If you believe that life is a struggle, filled with hardships, you will undoubtedly find yourself surrounded by challenges that reinforce that belief. On the other hand, if you hold a firm belief that the universe is abundant and full of opportunities, you will naturally attract experiences that confirm this truth. This is not to say that we consciously choose every single event in our lives. Sometimes, life presents us with situations we would never wish for. But even in those instances, the way we perceive and respond to them is still within our control. You may not be able to prevent a storm, but you can decide how you will weather it. In this way, you are always at the helm of your experience, navigating through life based on the state of your consciousness. When we speak of being the creator of your reality, it's important to recognize the power of thought. Thought is the seed from which all experiences grow. Every creation begins in the mind. The great buildings, cities, technologies, and works of art we admire today all started as ideas in someone's imagination. Similarly, every aspect of your life, your relationships, career, health, and personal growth begins with your thoughts. When you harness the power of your mind and direct it with intention, you become the architect of your future. Imagination plays a pivotal role in this process. What you imagine with feeling, you begin to experience in your outer world. The mind does not differentiate between what is imagined and what is real. It responds to both with equal intensity. This is why it is so vital to consciously engage your imagination in ways that serve your highest good. If you can see yourself living a life of joy, success, and love in your mind's eye, and you allow yourself to feel the emotions associated with that vision, you are planting the seeds for that life to materialize. However, simply imagining a better life is not enough. Creation requires belief. Your beliefs form the framework through which your reality is filtered. If you hold contradictory beliefs, if you imagine success but deep down believe you are unworthy of it, then your reality will reflect the conflict within. It's like planting a seed in barren soil. No matter how much you water it, it will not grow unless the environment is conducive to growth. You must cultivate beliefs that are in alignment with the life you wish to create. This requires inner work. It means examining your beliefs, especially those that limit you, and transforming them. The process may be uncomfortable at times as you confront old patterns of thinking that have kept you stuck, but it is necessary for growth. You must remind yourself daily that you are not a victim of circumstance, but the creator of your experience. Every time you catch yourself thinking disempowering thoughts, choose to shift them. Replace doubt with confidence, fear with faith, and limitation with possibility. It's also essential to understand the power of focus. What you focus on expands. If you focus on problems, they will multiply in your life. If you focus on opportunities, they will appear in abundance. The mind is incredibly potent in amplifying whatever it consistently dwells upon. This is why it's crucial to direct your attention toward the things you want to experience, rather than the things you wish to avoid. When you train your mind to see opportunities where others see obstacles, to expect success where others expect failure, you begin to attract those outcomes into your life. You are not a passive observer in this world. You are an active participant, continuously shaping your reality through your thoughts, beliefs, and focus. The power to create lies within you. It always has. The moment you truly accept that you are the creator of your reality, your life begins to change. You move from a place of reaction to a place of creation, and that shift is where your true power lies. Imagination is the key to transformation, a truth that is often overlooked in the fast-paced, logic-driven world we live in. Yet imagination holds the power to reshape our lives in profound ways. It is not just a tool for creativity or an escape from reality. It is the very foundation of how we create and transform our reality. Every significant change, whether in the world or within ourselves, begins with imagination. It is through imagination that we dream, innovate, and ultimately bring forth new possibilities that have the power to transform the course of our lives. At its core, imagination is the ability to form mental images, ideas, or concepts of things not physically present to the senses. But it goes beyond mere daydreaming. Imagination is a creative force that allows us to transcend our current circumstances and envision new realities. It's the seed from which all manifestation grows. Everything we see in the world around us, buildings, technology, art, societal structures, started as a thought in someone's mind, nurtured and developed through imagination before it took physical form. Imagination is the invisible blueprint for everything that becomes real. Transformation, whether it be personal growth, career success, or overcoming obstacles, begins in the mind. When we imagine a new reality for ourselves, we activate the mental process of creation. This mental vision becomes a guiding force that directs our actions, decisions, and emotions, leading us toward the transformation we seek. It's like charting a course for a journey without knowing where we want to go. We remain stuck in the same place, repeating the same patterns. Imagination gives us the destination, a vision of what could be, and from that vision we begin to move toward it. Imagination is also the way we bridge the gap between who we are and who we wish to become. It allows us to step outside the limitations of our current identity and experience a new version of ourselves. When we close our eyes and imagine ourselves as more confident, successful, or fulfilled, we are not just indulging in fantasy, we are laying the groundwork for personal transformation. The subconscious mind, which drives much of our behavior, does not distinguish between reality and vividly imagined experiences. When we repeatedly imagine ourselves in a new way, our subconscious begins to accept that image as truth, and we start to act, feel, and live in alignment with that new reality. This transformative power of imagination has been demonstrated throughout history. Some of the greatest minds, from inventors to visionaries, relied heavily on their imagination to bring about world-changing ideas. Think of figures like Albert Einstein, who famously said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." He understood that while knowledge is limited to what we already know, imagination is boundless, allowing us to explore realms of possibility that have yet to be discovered. The greatest breakthroughs in science, art, and philosophy all stemmed from someone daring to imagine something different from the current reality. In our personal lives, imagination plays an equally vital role. It is through the creative use of our imagination that we can heal from past trauma, overcome limiting beliefs, and unlock new levels of potential. For example, when someone imagines themselves letting go of a painful memory, or sees themselves living a life free from a long-held fear, they are beginning the process of emotional transformation. The mind, when consistently exposed to these positive mental images, starts to rewire itself, forming new neural pathways that align with the imagined reality. Over time, what started as a simple exercise in imagination becomes an embodied truth. However, for imagination to truly be transformative, it must be combined with belief and feeling. It is not enough to simply picture something in your mind. You must feel the emotions of that imagined reality as if it were already true. When you feel the joy, excitement, or relief of your envisioned transformation, you create a powerful emotional signal that communicates to your subconscious mind that this new reality is possible. The mind and body begin to respond to these signals, aligning your actions, decisions, and energy with the imagined outcome. This process of combining imagination with emotion and belief is what sets true transformation into motion. Imagination is far more than a mental escape. It is a creative tool that holds the power to shape and transform our lives. By daring to imagine new possibilities, and by feeling those possibilities as real, we initiate a process of change that unfolds from the inside out. Through the consistent and intentional use of our imagination, we can break free from limiting patterns, create new realities, and ultimately transform into the people we are destined to become. The key is to embrace the power of imagination, nurture it, and trust in its ability to bring forth the transformation we seek. What you focus on expands. This simple yet profound principle has the power to shape every aspect of your life, from your relationships to your career, health, and happiness. It is a truth that underscores how our thoughts, attention, and energy directly influence our reality. Whatever we consistently focus on, whether positive or negative, grows and manifests in our lives. This is not some abstract or mystical concept. It's a fundamental law of how the human mind interacts with the world around it. At its core, this idea is based on the way our brains work. The human brain is an extraordinary filtering system. Every day we are bombarded with vast amounts of information, far more than we can consciously process. To make sense of the world, the brain filters out most of this information and focuses on what it deems important. The deciding factor for what gets through this filter is what we consistently focus on. The brain interprets our focus as a sign that something is important to us, and as a result, it starts finding more of it in our environment. On the flip side, when you focus on solutions, possibilities, and positive outcomes, you send your energy in a direction that supports growth, creativity, and progress. Focusing on the things you are grateful for example, can dramatically shift your energy and mood. Gratitude opens your mind and heart to more abundance, because when you focus on what you have, rather than what you lack, you are acknowledging that life is already full. This positive focus encourages more blessings to flow into your life. This principle doesn't mean that we should ignore challenges or pretend that problems don't exist. Instead, it's about choosing where to place the majority of our mental and emotional energy. Challenges are a part of life, but how we focus on them determines whether they will drag us down or become opportunities for growth. By focusing on solutions, resilience, and learning, we shift the narrative of our experiences. We move from a state of helplessness to one of empowerment. The more you practice this shift, the easier it becomes. Over time, your brain will start to automatically filter your experiences in a way that supports your growth and happiness. You'll begin to notice more opportunities, more reasons to be grateful, and more reasons to feel empowered. This doesn't mean that life will be without challenges, but it does mean that you'll be better equipped to handle them from a place of strength, optimism, and resilience. The power of focus lies in its ability to shape your internal and external worlds. When you focus on what you want, rather than what you don't want, you harness the creative power of your mind to expand those desires into your reality. What you focus on truly expands, and by consciously directing your focus, you have the ability to transform your life in meaningful and lasting ways. Live in the end result is a principle that calls for aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the reality of your desire being already fulfilled. Instead of waiting for external conditions to change before feeling successful, happy, or fulfilled, this approach suggests that you first embody the emotional and mental state of having achieved your goal. This idea is more than just wishful thinking. It is a profound psychological and spiritual practice that taps into the power of the subconscious mind, aligning your entire being with the future you seek to create. The concept is rooted in the understanding that the external world reflects the internal state of your consciousness. Most people approach life by responding to their circumstances. If things go well, they feel good. If things go poorly, they feel bad. But living in the end result flips this process. Rather than waiting for your circumstances to validate your emotions, you begin by cultivating the feelings and beliefs that align with your desired outcome. This practice conditions your mind and body to act as if your goals have already been achieved, thus influencing your reality in powerful ways. When you live in the end result, you are no longer thinking in terms of someday, or if you shift your mindset to a state of being where your desired outcome is already true. For instance, if you are seeking financial abundance, you don't dwell on the current lack of money or the difficulties in obtaining it. Instead, you imagine yourself already living a life of financial freedom. You embrace the feelings of security, abundance, and ease that come with it. In doing so, you align your thoughts and emotions with the reality of abundance, which begins to shift your actions, decisions, and even the opportunities you attract. The power of living in the end result lies in the fact that the subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. When you consistently visualize your desired outcome and embody the feelings that accompany it, your subconscious begins to accept this as your reality. Over time, it reshapes your habits, behaviors, and perceptions to align with that new reality. This is why elite athletes, successful entrepreneurs, and high achievers often use visualization techniques as part of their routine. By seeing and feeling themselves already at the finish line, they condition their minds and bodies to act in ways that make that vision a reality. But the practice goes deeper than just visualization. It's about truly feeling that you are already living your desired life. The key is to cultivate the emotional state that comes with your goal's fulfillment. For example, if your desire is a loving relationship, you must first embody the feelings of love, companionship, and joy, rather than focusing on the lack of those things in your life. By doing so, you attract experiences and people that resonate with the emotional frequency you are emitting. The same applies to career success, health, personal growth, or any other area of life. Living in the end result also encourages you to stop worrying about how your goals will be achieved. Many people get caught up in the details, obsessing over the steps they need to take, or doubting whether their dreams are even possible. This doubt and focus on the how can create resistance, which blocks the flow of opportunities and solutions. When you live in the end result, you trust that the necessary steps and opportunities will unfold naturally. You let go of the need to control every aspect of the journey, knowing that the energy you put into feeling and believing in the outcome will attract the right circumstances. It's important to understand that living in the end result doesn't mean ignoring your present circumstances or pretending challenges don't exist. It's not about denying reality, it's about recognizing that your current reality is malleable and can be shaped by the state of your consciousness. You don't have to wait for your external situation to improve before you can feel the way you want to feel. Instead, you can create a shift internally first, which in turn influences your external reality. One of the most significant benefits of living in the end result is the reduction of stress and anxiety. When you believe that your desires are already fulfilled, there's no need for desperation, fear, or doubt. You operate from a place of confidence and trust. This doesn't mean you won't take action, quite the opposite. Living in the end result often motivates inspired action, but the difference is that your actions come from a place of certainty rather than fear. You move forward with the assurance that everything is already working out in your favor. Living in the end result requires practice and patience, especially if you're accustomed to focusing on lack or doubt. It's easy to fall back into old habits of worry or fear, particularly when faced with challenges. But the more you practice shifting your focus to the feeling of your desired outcome, the more natural it becomes. Over time, this practice can lead to profound changes in your life, as the internal shifts in your consciousness are reflected in the external world. Living in the end result is a way of aligning yourself with your highest potential. It's a powerful approach to life that allows you to move beyond fear, doubt, and limitation, and into a state of trust, abundance, and empowerment. By embodying the energy of your fulfilled desires, you become a magnet for the experiences, opportunities, and resources that bring those desires into reality. Persist in your assumptions is a powerful principle that teaches the importance of maintaining unwavering belief in your desired outcome, regardless of current circumstances or external challenges. This idea is rooted in the understanding that your assumptions, or the things you believe to be true, shape your reality. What you assume about yourself, others, and the world around you acts as a blueprint for how your life unfolds. To persist in your assumptions means to hold fast to the belief that what you desire is already yours, even when it appears otherwise. The power of assumption is closely tied to the workings of the subconscious mind. The subconscious does not question or rationalize, it accepts whatever you feed it as truth. Therefore, the assumptions you consistently hold will be accepted by the subconscious as your reality, regardless of whether they are true in the present moment. By persisting in a chosen assumption, you are effectively reprogramming your subconscious mind to align with the reality you desire. Over time, this shift in your internal state begins to reflect outwardly in your experiences. For example, if you desire success in your career but currently feel stuck or undervalued, persisting in the assumption that you are already successful, despite the present evidence, starts to shift your reality. Instead of focusing on your current limitations or obstacles, you focus on the feeling of having already achieved your goal. You imagine what it feels like to be recognized, valued, and thriving in your career. By persisting in this assumption, your subconscious begins to accept this as truth, and as a result, your actions, attitudes, and the opportunities you attract start to align with this new belief. This is not simply about positive thinking or wishful daydreaming. Persistence in assumption requires a deep and consistent commitment to the belief that your desired outcome is inevitable. It involves rejecting any thoughts or feelings of doubt, fear, or failure. It's a mental and emotional discipline that requires you to constantly return to the assumption of your success, even when external circumstances suggest otherwise. In this way, you train your mind to focus on what you want, rather than on what you don't want. The challenges are a natural part of life, and there will be times when external circumstances seem to contradict your assumptions. Perhaps you're trying to manifest a loving relationship, but every date goes wrong. Or maybe you're aiming for financial freedom, yet bills keep piling up. These moments of contradiction are where persistence is truly tested. It's easy to fall back into old patterns of doubt or frustration, but to persist in your assumption means to stand firm in the belief that your desired outcome is on its way, regardless of temporary setbacks. One of the key reasons this principle works is that the world around you is highly influenced by your internal state. Your beliefs, thoughts, and assumptions affect your perception, which in turn affects how you interact with the world. If you assume that opportunities are scarce, you are likely to miss them even when they are right in front of you, because your mind is conditioned to overlook them. On the other hand, if you assume that opportunities are abundant, you will naturally notice and seize them. Persistence in assumption shifts your internal filter, making you more receptive to the possibilities that align with your desires. Additionally, the energy you put out into the world is shaped by your assumptions. If you assume that you are capable, deserving, and destined for success, you will emit a confidence that draws positive experiences toward you. People respond to your energy, often without even realizing it. When you persist in an assumption of confidence and success, others start to treat you accordingly, creating a feedback loop that reinforces your belief. Conversely, if you persist in an assumption of lack or unworthiness, that too becomes your reality, as your energy repels the very things you seek. The law of assumption also teaches that time is irrelevant when it comes to manifestation. Your desired outcome exists in a state beyond time. It is the persistence of your assumption that draws it into your present reality. Many people give up on their dreams or desires because they don't see immediate results. But manifestation doesn't operate on a human timeline, it operates on belief. The moment you persist in your assumption, the process begins. Whether it takes days, months, or years to materialize is not as important as your ability to hold on to the belief that it will happen. When you persist, you build an unshakable faith that what you desire is already yours, and it will manifest in its own perfect timing. However, persisting in your assumptions also requires self-awareness. You must be willing to examine your habitual thoughts and beliefs, many of which operate below the surface. If you continually affirm that you are successful but carry deep-seated beliefs of unworthiness or failure, these underlying assumptions will sabotage your efforts. Persistence requires you to root out these limiting beliefs and replace them with new, empowering assumptions that support the reality you want to create. This can be a challenging process, as it involves confronting old patterns and emotional wounds, but it is essential for true transformation. Ultimately, to persist in your assumptions is to claim your power as a creator of your reality. It is a practice of faith, discipline, and inner alignment. By holding firm to the assumption of your desired outcome, no matter what external circumstances arise, you set in motion the forces that will bring that outcome into your life. This principle allows you to transcend the limitations of your current reality and step into a future that is shaped by your deepest desires and beliefs. The world will eventually conform to your assumptions, but only if you persist,